The wind howled like a pack of wolves as snow whipped through the air, stinging exposed skin and burying everything beneath its icy blanket. It was one of those blizzards that seemed alive, intent on swallowing the world whole. In the middle of nowhere, a vast expanse of frozen wilderness, stood a small tent, barely visible against the relentless storm. Inside huddled two figures, Zara Nyleth, a widow from a distant planet called Zitherus, and her 5-year-old son, Kale. Zara had come to Earth not by choice but necessity. Her husband, an intergalactic trader, had been killed in a raid while transporting rare minerals back to their home planet. Left with nothing but debts and danger at every turn, she fled with Kale aboard their battered spacecraft, hoping for sanctuary. But fate is cruel, even to aliens. Their ship malfunctioned mid-flight, crashing into Earth's atmosphere and leaving them stranded in this unforgiving landscape. Kale coughed weakly, his tiny body trembling despite the layers of thermal blankets wrapped around him. "Mama," he whispered, his voice hoarse. "I'm so cold." Zara pulled him closer, trying to shield him from the biting chill. She knew they wouldn't last much longer if help didn't arrive soon. The emergency beacon they'd salvaged from the wreckage hadn't worked. It was probably damaged beyond repair during the crash. Desperation clawed at her chest as she stared out into the white void outside their fragile shelter. She thought about her life before all this, the bustling cities of Zitherus, where gravity felt lighter and the skies shimmered with hues unknown to Earth. There, she had been someone important, respected. Here, she was just another lost soul fighting to survive. And now, she wasn't even sure she could protect her child. Far away from the desolate plains where Zara and Kale fought against nature's fury, a man named Owen Rivers zipped across the surface of a frozen lake on his jet ski. Owen was no ordinary human. He lived for adventure and thrived in extreme conditions. While most people avoided venturing outdoors during such storms, Owen embraced them. To him, these moments were tests of courage and skill. Owen adjusted his goggles, squinting against the driving snow. His jet ski roared as it carved through the icy waters, sending up sprays of slush behind him. He loved the rush, the way the cold bit into his cheeks and made him feel alive. But today, something tugged at the edges of his mind, a strange sensation, almost like intuition whispering that he needed to keep moving forward. As he approached the edge of the lake, he spotted something unusual sticking out of the snowdrifts near the shoreline. At first glance, it looked like debris, perhaps remnants of a fallen tree or some discarded equipment. But as he drew closer, curiosity got the better of him. He slowed down, steering the jet ski toward the object. When he finally reached it, what he saw stopped him dead in his tracks. It wasn't debris, it was a tent, half buried under the snow. Steam rose faintly from the fabric, indicating warmth inside. Someone was here, braving the storm. Owen dismounted quickly, his heart pounding. Who would be crazy enough, or desperate enough, to camp out in weather like this? He knocked lightly on the tent flap, shouting over the wind, "Hello? Is anyone there?" For a moment, there was silence. Then came a soft rustling sound, followed by a hesitant voice. Who's there?" It was feminine, tinged with fear and exhaustion. "It's okay," Owen called back, raising his hands to show he meant no harm. "I'm here to help." The tent flap opened slightly, revealing a pair of wide, luminous eyes that glowed faintly in the dim light. Owen blinked, startled. Those eyes weren't human, they were otherworldly, filled with both terror and hope. Slowly, a woman emerged, clutching a small boy to her side. Both were bundled in mismatched clothing, clearly scavenged from various sources. We, the woman began, her voice cracking. She switched to a language Owen didn't understand, then tried again in broken English. "Please, we need help." Owen nodded, already unzipping his coat. "You're safe now," he said firmly, though he wasn't entirely sure how true that statement was. Safe from the storm, maybe, but what else awaited them? Back at his cabin, nestled deep within the woods, Owen worked tirelessly to make his unexpected guests comfortable. The cabin itself was modest but cozy, with a roaring fireplace casting flickering shadows across the wooden walls. Zara sat on the couch, wrapped in a thick blanket, while Kale clung to her leg, peering cautiously at Owen. "So," Owen began, handing Zara a steaming mug of hot chocolate, You're not from around here, huh? Zara hesitated, unsure how much to reveal. On Zitharus, trust was earned slowly, especially among strangers. But Owen's kindness, and the fact that he'd saved their lives, made her decide to take a chance. No, she admitted softly. We are visitors. From far away. Aliens, you mean? Owen grinned, leaning back in his chair. Don't worry, I won't tell anyone. Besides, I've always wanted to meet someone from outer space. To his surprise, Zara laughed, a delicate musical sound that lit up her face. You humans are strange. Most species would panic upon meeting us. Well, I'm not most species, Owen replied with a wink. Besides, you don't look too scary. Just different. Kale peeked out from behind his mother's legs, his large eyes fixed on Owen. Are you a hero? He asked suddenly, his voice high-pitched and curious. Owen chuckled. Not exactly. Just a guy who likes riding jet skis in bad weather. Zara smiled faintly, brushing a strand of silvery hair away from her face. You saved us, she said quietly. That makes you a hero to us. The conversation flowed easily after that, though Zara remained guarded about certain details. She explained that their ship had crashed nearby, rendering them stranded. Without proper supplies or knowledge of Earth's environment, survival had become nearly impossible. Owen listened intently, marveling at the resilience of this alien woman and her child. But as the night wore on, questions lingered in Owen's mind. Why had they come to Earth? What dangers might still be lurking in the shadows? And most importantly, how could he possibly help them get home? The next morning dawned bright and clear, the storm having passed as quickly as it had arrived. Owen stepped outside, breathing in the crisp winter air. The world sparkled under a fresh layer of snow, pristine and untouched. But beauty often masked danger, and Owen knew they couldn't afford to waste time. Inside the cabin, Zara busied herself with organizing their meager belongings. Kale played quietly on the floor, building towers out of wooden blocks. Watching them, Owen felt a pang of guilt. They were relying on him now, and he wasn't sure he was equipped to handle the responsibility. We should go back to the crash site, Zara said abruptly, breaking the silence. There may be parts we can salvage. Maybe even repair the ship. Owen frowned. It's risky. If the storm comes back. We have no choice, Zara interrupted, her tone firm. Staying here isn't an option either. We can't impose on you forever. You're not imposing, Owen protested, though he knew she was right. This situation was temporary at best. Still, the thought of sending them back into the wilderness unsettled him. Together, they loaded up Owen's snowmobile, strapping on tools and supplies. Kale rode snugly in a makeshift seat Owen had fashioned for him, giggling with excitement. Zara climbed on behind Owen, her arms wrapping tightly around his waist. As they sped off toward the crash site, Owen couldn't shake the feeling that they were being watched. When they arrived, the scene was eerier than Owen remembered. The wreckage lay scattered across the snowy field, twisted metal glinting dully in the sunlight. Smoke stains marred the ground, evidence of the explosion that had brought them down. Zara moved with purpose, inspecting pieces of the ship with a practiced eye. This panel might still work, she muttered, prying it loose with a crowbar. And the navigation core, if we can fix it. Owen helped her gather useful items, stacking them carefully onto the sled attached to the snowmobile. Kale wandered nearby, examining bits of debris with childish fascination. Suddenly, he froze, pointing toward the tree-line. Mama, look. They turned just in time to see movement in the shadows. A figure emerged, tall and gaunt, its skin pale and translucent. Its eyes glowed red, locking onto Zara with unmistakable malice. Run! Zara shouted, grabbing Kale and sprinting toward the snowmobile. Owen hesitated, staring in disbelief. Was this thing real? Or was it some trick of the light? Before he could decide, the creature lunged, closing the distance between them with terrifying speed. Without thinking, Owen swung the crowbar, striking the creature squarely in the chest. It let out a guttural scream, stumbling backward. Seizing the opportunity, Owen grabbed Zara's hand and yanked her onto the snowmobile. The engine roared to life as he gunned it, racing away from the nightmare unfolding behind them. "What was that?" Owen demanded, glancing over his shoulder. "A bounty hunter," Zara replied grimly. "They must have tracked us here." Owen's blood ran cold. Bounty hunters? This just kept getting better. The snowmobile tore through the icy landscape, its engine roaring like a defiant beast as Owen pushed it to its limits. Behind them, the bounty hunter moved with unnatural speed, leaping over fallen trees and dodging obstacles that would have stopped any human, or so Owen assumed. Its glowing red eyes seemed to pierce through the daylight, tracking their every move. Zara clutched Cale tightly against her chest, shielding him from the biting wind and the terror chasing them. Her heart pounded in her ears, each beat a reminder of how close they were to losing everything again. She glanced back at the creature, her jaw tightening. It wasn't just any bounty hunter, it was one of the Syndicate's elite trackers, bred for relentless pursuit. If it caught them, there would be no escape. "Owen!" she shouted above the noise of the engine. "It's gaining on us." Owen didn't need to look behind him to know she was right. The thud of heavy footsteps grew louder, closer. He cursed under his breath, scanning the terrain ahead for anything at all, that might give them an edge. Then he spotted it, a narrow ravine cutting through the forest, its steep walls slick with ice. It was risky, but if they could navigate it, maybe the bounty hunter wouldn't be able to follow. "Hold on!" Owen yelled, swerving sharply toward the ravine. The snowmobile skidded dangerously as it hit the edge, teetering for a moment before plunging into the descent. Zara gasped, clinging to Owen with one hand while keeping Cale secure with the other. The world blurred around them as they careened downward, the wind whipping past their faces like knives. Behind them, the bounty hunter hesitated at the lip of the ravine, its long limbs twitching as it assessed the situation. With a guttural snarl, it leaped after them, landing hard on the icy slope. For a moment, it seemed to lose its footing, sliding uncontrollably before regaining balance. But the delay gave Owen and his passengers precious seconds to widen the gap. At the bottom of the ravine, Owen gunned the engine again, steering toward a cluster of boulders partially buried in the snow. He veered sharply behind the largest rock, killing the engine instantly. The sudden silence was deafening. "Stay quiet," he whispered, pulling Zara and Cale down beside him. They huddled together, barely daring to breathe as the sound of the bounty hunter's approach echoed through the narrow canyon. Cale whimpered softly, burying his face in his mother's shoulder. Zara pressed a finger to her lips, signaling him to stay silent. Her own breathing came in shallow bursts, adrenaline coursing through her veins. She knew this kind of tracker. It relied not only on sight but also on scent and vibrations. One wrong move, and they'd be discovered. The creature appeared at the mouth of the ravine, its head tilting as it sniffed the air. Its movements were eerily deliberate, almost mechanical, as it scanned the area. Every step it took sent shivers down Owen's spine. He gripped the crowbar tighter, ready to fight if necessary. But deep down, he knew brute force wouldn't be enough against something like this. Minutes dragged by like hours. Finally, the bounty hunter let out a low growl and turned away, retreating back up the slope. Only when its silhouette disappeared completely did Owen allow himself to exhale. "That thing's persistent," he muttered, running a hand through his hair. "We're not safe yet." Zara nodded grimly. "It won't stop until it finds us. We need to get off this planet." "But how?" Owen asked, frustration creeping into his voice. "Even if we fix your ship, what's to stop that thing from ambushing us again?" For a moment, Zara didn't answer. Her mind raced, piecing together fragments of plans and possibilities. Then her eyes lit up with determination. "There's another way," she said quietly. "But it's dangerous." Back at the cabin, Owen paced nervously while Zara worked feverishly on the salvaged navigation core. Tools and wires littered the kitchen table, along with scraps of alien technology that looked more like abstract art than functional machinery. Cale sat nearby, watching his mother with wide-eyed fascination. "What exactly are you doing?" Owen asked, stopping mid-pace to peer over her shoulder. "I'm reprogramming the core to send a distress signal," Zara explained without looking up. Her hands moved deftly, connecting circuits and adjusting settings with practiced precision. If we can reach a nearby starship or outpost, they might send help. And if they don't? Owen pressed. Then we're back where we started, Zara admitted. But staying here isn't an option. That bounty hunter will find us sooner or later. Owen sighed, running a hand over his face. You really think someone out there cares enough to come rescue you? I have to believe that, Zara replied firmly. Otherwise. She trailed off, unwilling to finish the thought. Instead, she focused on her work, her fingers trembling slightly despite her resolve. Owen noticed but didn't comment. He understood the weight of what she was carrying, not just the physical burden of survival, but the emotional toll of protecting her child in a hostile world. As night fell, the cabin grew quiet except for the occasional hum of the navigation core powering up. Outside, the temperature dropped sharply, frosting the windows with intricate patterns of ice. Inside, the fire crackled softly, casting flickering shadows across the room. Finally, Zara leaned back, wiping sweat from her brow. It's done, she announced. Now we wait. For what? Owen asked, though he already knew the answer. For whoever or whatever hears our call. Hours passed, then days. Each morning brought new tension, each evening a fresh wave of uncertainty. The bounty hunter hadn't returned, but its absence felt less like relief and more like anticipation. Owen kept his jet ski fueled and ready, knowing they might need to make a quick getaway at any moment. Meanwhile, Cale entertained himself by drawing pictures of their adventures, filling the pages of a notebook Owen had given him with colorful depictions of spaceships, aliens, and heroes. One afternoon, as Owen chopped wood outside, he heard a faint buzzing sound coming from inside the cabin. Dropping the axe, he rushed in to find Zara staring at the navigation core, her expression unreadable. It worked, she whispered. Someone's responding. Owen's stomach flipped. Who? Before Zara could answer, the buzzing grew louder, accompanied by a strange shimmering effect in the air. A holographic projection flickered to life above the table, revealing the image of a humanoid figure clad in ornate armor. Its skin was a deep violet, and its eyes glowed with an inner light. Zara Nylith, the figure said, its voice resonating like a chorus. Your message has been received. Zara stood, her posture stiff but respectful. Commander Vela, she greeted, bowing slightly. Thank you for answering. The commander studied her for a moment, then shifted her gaze to Owen and Cale. You travel with humans now? They saved us, Zara explained quickly. Without them, we wouldn't have survived. Vela nodded slowly. Very well. Prepare yourselves. A recovery vessel is en route. However, she paused, her tone growing grave. Be warned, the Syndicate knows you've called for aid. They will not let you leave easily. Owen felt a chill run down his spine. So what do? We fight, Zara said simply, meeting his gaze. Together. The countdown began. According to Vela, the recovery vessel would arrive within 24 hours. Until then, they had to hold their ground. Owen fortified the cabin as best he could, boarding up windows and setting traps around the perimeter. Zara armed herself with makeshift weapons crafted from salvaged ship parts, determined to protect her son at all costs. That night, as they sat together by the fire, Owen broke the silence. If you make it out of here, what happens next? Zara stared into the flames, her expression thoughtful. I go home. Rebuild my life. Raise Cale in a place where he doesn't have to fear monsters in the dark. And me? Owen asked, half joking but genuinely curious. You'll always be a part of our story, Zara said softly, smiling. A hero who changed everything. Before Owen could respond, a loud crash echoed outside, followed by the unmistakable sound of splintering wood. The bounty hunter had returned, and this time, it wasn't alone. The door burst open with a deafening crack, snow and wind rushing in as the bounty hunter stepped inside, flanked by two smaller, equally menacing figures. Their glowing red eyes scanned the room, locking onto Zara and Cale instantly. Owen reacted instinctively, grabbing a nearby axe and positioning himself between them and the creatures. But before anyone could make a move, a voice boomed from behind the hunters. "Enough." Everyone froze. Standing in the doorway was Commander Vela herself, her violet armor gleaming despite the dim light. Her presence radiated authority, and even the bounty hunters seemed to hesitate under her piercing gaze. "You've overstepped your bounds," Vela said coldly, addressing the lead hunter. "The Syndicate has no jurisdiction here." The bounty hunter growled but didn't advance further. After a tense moment, it signaled to its companions, and they retreated into the shadows, vanishing as quickly as they'd appeared. Vela turned to Zara, her expression softening slightly. "Your ride is waiting. But we must leave now. The storm returns." As they prepared to depart, Owen looked at Zara and Kale, unsure if he should feel relieved or heartbroken. Before he could say goodbye, Vela placed a hand on his shoulder. "You've done well, human," she said. "And for that, you'll be rewarded." Before Owen could ask what she meant, a brilliant flash of light enveloped the room. When it faded, Zara, Kale, and Vela were gone, and so was the cabin. In its place stood a sleek, otherworldly spacecraft humming softly in the snow. Owen blinked, stunned. He wasn't alone, though. At his feet sat a small device blinking with alien symbols. A message scrolled across its screen, *, press to join us. *. The twist. Owen wasn't saying goodbye, he was being offered a choice. Stay on Earth, or follow them into the stars. Owen stared at the device in his hands, the blinking symbols casting an ethereal glow on his face. The weight of the decision pressed down on him, but deep inside, he already knew what he wanted. For as long as he could remember, Owen had been alone. No family to call his own, no place that truly felt like home. His adventures and thrill-seeking had filled the void, but they'd never healed the ache of belonging nowhere. He thought about Zara and Kale, the way Kale's laughter lit up a room, or how Zara's quiet strength reminded him of someone who'd endured more than anyone should. They weren't just strangers anymore, they were a family he'd helped protect, even if only for a short time. And now, standing here with the stars practically within reach, Owen realized something profound. This was his chance to belong, to have people who needed him as much as he needed them. With a deep breath, Owen pressed the button on the device. It hummed softly, and a beam of light shot into the sky, forming a shimmering portal. On the other side, he could see the interior of the spacecraft, where Zara stood holding Kale's hand. She looked surprised but hopeful, her luminous eyes searching his face. "You're coming?" she asked, her voice tinged with disbelief. Owen nodded, a grin spreading across his face. "You didn't think I'd let you two go off without me, did you? Besides..." He glanced back at the snowy wilderness one last time before stepping toward the portal. "I've always wanted to see the universe." Kale squealed with excitement, running up to hug Owen's legs. "Does this mean you're my new dad?" The question caught Owen off guard, but it also melted any lingering doubts. He knelt down, ruffling the boy's hair. "Well, I'm not great at fixing things, and I definitely can't cook. But yeah, kid. If your mom says it's okay, I guess I'm sticking around." Zara smiled, tears glistening in her eyes. "Welcome to the family, Owen." As the spacecraft ascended into the atmosphere, leaving Earth behind, Owen watched through the window as the planet grew smaller and smaller. For the first time in his life, he felt whole. This wasn't just an adventure. It was a new beginning. Together, they would face whatever challenges lay ahead, united by love, courage, and the unbreakable bond of chosen family. But as the ship entered hyperspace, a faint alarm blared in the cockpit. A holographic display flickered to life, showing a massive fleet of Syndicate ships emerging from warp speed directly in their path. Commander Vela's voice rang out over the intercom, calm but urgent. "Brace yourselves. We're not out of danger yet." The twist. Owen's decision had saved his heart, but now, it might cost them all their lives. The alarm blared louder as the Syndicate fleet loomed closer, their ships casting ominous shadows against the vast expanse of space. Owen's heart raced, but instead of panic, he felt a surge of determination. He wasn't just some thrill-seeking wanderer anymore, he was part of something bigger, a family worth fighting for. Commander Vela took charge immediately, her voice steady and commanding. Prepare for evasive maneuvers. Activate the cloaking field. The crew scrambled to their stations, fingers flying over glowing panels as the ship hummed with energy. Zara, who had been trained in piloting during her time on Zitherus, joined Vela at the helm. Kale clung to Owen's leg, his wide eyes reflecting both fear and awe. "Stay close, buddy," Owen said, lifting Kale into his arms. "We're gonna be okay." The spacecraft shuddered violently as it dodged a barrage of laser fire from the Syndicate ships. Sparks flew from one of the control panels, and smoke filled the air. Despite the chaos, there was an unspoken understanding among everyone on board. They wouldn't let each other down. "Cloaking field activated," shouted one of the crew members, just as another blast rocked the ship. Vela smirked, her violet armor gleaming under the red emergency lights. "Time to show these cowards what we're made of. Divert all power to engines. We're slipping past them." With a burst of speed, the ship darted forward, vanishing from sight as the cloaking field enveloped it. The Syndicate fleet fired blindly into empty space, their confusion evident. For several tense moments, no one spoke, holding their breath as the ship navigated through the hostile fleet undetected. Finally, when they were far enough away, Vela let out a triumphant laugh. "We did it! They've lost our trail." Cheers erupted throughout the spacecraft, but Owen couldn't fully relax yet. His gaze met Zara's, and he saw the same mix of relief and exhaustion mirrored in her eyes. She smiled weakly, mouthing two words, "Thank you." Days turned into weeks as the ship traveled across galaxies, finally reaching Zitherus, a planet unlike anything Owen had ever imagined. Its skies shimmered with hues of gold and lavender, and its gravity felt lighter, almost buoyant. Towering crystalline structures dotted the landscape, glowing faintly under twin suns. To Owen, it looked like a dream world. Zara and Kale were greeted as heroes upon their return, not only because of their survival but also because of the courage they displayed in escaping the Syndicate. News of Owen's bravery spread quickly, earning him respect and admiration from the people of Zitherus. Though he was still adjusting to life on an alien planet, Owen found joy in every new experience. From learning the local customs to bonding with Kale over building strange contraptions out of scrap parts. One evening, as the family sat together watching the sunset paint the sky in breathtaking colors, Zara leaned her head on Owen's shoulder. "You've given us so much," she said softly. "A home, safety, hope. And you gave me a reason to keep going," Owen replied, wrapping an arm around her. "I never thought I'd find somewhere, or someone, I belong to. But here I am." Kale tugged on Owen's sleeve, grinning mischievously. "Does this mean you'll stay forever?" Owen chuckled, ruffling the boy's hair. "Forever sounds about right." Months later, under the golden light of Zitherus' twin suns, Owen and Zara stood hand in hand in front of a gathering of friends, family, and curious onlookers. The ceremony was simple yet beautiful, blending Earth traditions with those of Zara's culture. As they exchanged vows, promising to stand by each other through whatever challenges lay ahead, Owen felt a profound sense of peace settle over him. Afterward, the celebration began, a vibrant feast filled with music, laughter, and dancing. Kale ran around with other children, showing off his newly learned moves while Owen and Zara watched with amused smiles. Even Commander Vela made an appearance, raising a glass in their honor. "To Owen and Zara," she said, her voice warm despite her usual stern demeanor. "May your journey together be as boundless as the stars." As the festivities continued late into the night, Owen pulled Zara aside, leading her to a quiet spot overlooking the city. Below them, the crystal towers sparkled like jewels against the darkening sky. "We did it," Owen murmured, pulling her close. "We built a life here, a real one." Zara rested her head against his chest, listening to the steady beat of his heart. "Not just a life," she corrected gently. "A family." In that moment, surrounded by love and the promise of a brighter future, Owen knew he had found exactly where he was meant to be. Together, they had faced danger, loss, and uncertainty, but now they had everything they needed to live happily ever after. Under the watchful gaze of twin suns, their story became a legend, whispered among the stars for generations to come. Under the golden light of Zitherus' twin suns, Owen and Zara exchanged vows, promising forever. Kale grinned ear to ear as he held the ceremonial ribbon binding them together. Cheers erupted from the crowd, blending Earth traditions with alien customs. That night, fireworks painted the sky in dazzling colors, mirroring the joy in their hearts. Commander Vela toasted their union, calling them a bridge between worlds. Laughter and music filled the air as everyone celebrated. Later, Owen and Zara stood on a balcony overlooking the glowing city. "We're home," she whispered, leaning into him. He kissed her forehead, feeling peace he'd never known before. Kale ran up, hugging their legs. "Best day ever," he declared. They laughed, pulling him close. For the first time, Owen truly understood family. Months passed, and life settled into harmony. Owen adapted to Zitherus, learning its language and culture while teaching others about Earth. Zara thrived, rebuilding her life with pride. Together, they created a sanctuary for those seeking refuge. One evening, as they watched the stars, Kale asked, "What's next?" Owen smiled. "Whatever we make it." Years later, Kale grew into a curious young man, following in his parents' adventurous footsteps. Owen and Zara grew old together, their love unwavering. On their final night, under the twin suns, Owen held Zara's hand. "Our story isn't ending," he said softly. "It's just beginning somewhere else." As their spirits joined the cosmos, their legacy lived on, a tale of courage, love, and unity told across galaxies. And so, their happily ever after became eternal.